So did you think that the DC sports curse was broken last year when the Caps won the Stanley Cup? Think again. Mike Wise says there's a new curse in town.
DC Sports' wheel of misfortune keeps on spinning. 3 snaps into a non-contact football drill in Ashburn, Virginia Monday, Reuben Foster tore his left ACL and likely will not play for Washington this upcoming NFL season. The man who was supposed to make a difference on the defensive line stepped funny, the coach said. This comes after the starting quarterback, Alex Smith, shattered the fibula and tibia in his right leg in the middle of last season, a gruesome injury that left teammates crying and praying on the field. It's unclear when or if his career will continue. A week later, Colt McCoy, Smith's backup and the new starter, suffered a broken leg. He still hasn't been cleared to participate in voluntary practices this offseason. John Wall, the Wizards' all-star point guard, slipped and fell outside his shower in late January and ruptured his left Achilles tendon. After February surgery, he was not expected to return for a full calendar year, and that's if rehab goes well. A freak injury, team officials said. On the misery goes. For the first time since 2013, Ted Leonsis' NHL and NBA clubs were not playing in the Capital One Arena during the postseason in May. For the first time since 2004, both the Wizards and Capitals seasons were finished before the NFL draft. The Nationals, not only did they lose Bryce Harper to Philadelphia, they've lost 28 games in less than 2 months. They're 9 games behind the Phillies already. Their bullpen closes worse than 7-11. You really can't make up the abject awfulness of last fall, winter, and now spring. All the seasons after the Caps won the Stanley Cup. Remember, almost a year ago now, the first championship parade down Constitution Avenue in 3 decades? The goosebumps generated by banner-raising night at Cap One Arena? Yeah, me either. Who knew winning the cup would hurt this much? The curse of Lord Stanley. It's real. Word from the wise.